All right.
Please don't. Bye. Okay.
I don't know if somebody was talking to me. Okay. Well, anyway, welcome. I'm calling this meeting to order at 8:04 and a little bit after. I've got a cat behind me who has decided to wedge himself between me and the back of my chair. Now he's on the floor. Good to see everybody. So today we are going to have a chance to see what Zbignew's been up to since he has moved away from Chicago and taken up additional, it's not like it's unusual for you to travel, so. But I made you co-host, and so you should be able to share your screen if you want to.
Okay, well, it's mostly pictures, so I do want to do that. How do I go for
You should at the bottom of the
there? Okay.
share screen, yeah. And then
Okay.
it'll ask you what you want to share.
And finder unknown, everything is unknown. Documents. Let me see.
Well, it's big news looking at that. Does anybody have any news or updates or anything they want to share?
In the fall, we're going back to Kenya to the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust compound in various parts of the national park there. And if someone would help me, other than Doug, to be able to give a presentation, I would like to do one on the plight of elephants. And I think there's been progress, but there's still a lot of challenges. I think it would be interesting. The pictures are beautiful, but I don't know how to put.
I could help you with that.
I have to get out of the meeting. The system asked me to
Oh,
reconnect.
okay. So we'll have you leave and come back.
I was gonna
Gail, I could help you with that.
who's saying that?
Natalie Lichtenberg.
Oh, Natalie, hi. Thank
And
you.
I've been there and everything, so I'm
Okay,
familiar.
I was gonna ask the big new, but I don't think so.
Sure, it'd be fun to do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm letting him in again.
I'll send you an email.
Oh, thanks. We're talking about late, we're going later this year, but
That's fine.
I'll
That's
definitely
perfect.
appreciate your help.
No problem.
Where are they going?
Kenya.
Kenya, the
Tsavo National Park.
How's it going, Zbigniew? You're muted at the moment. Oh, you're sharing. Yay. Okay. So,
I'm unmuted now, so everything good. Allow. Am I sharing?
yes,
Yeah.
but we're seeing your
Have the link on
the Zoom link. Yeah.
says launch. You know, hit the launch meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See that same thing.
Maybe hide Zoom or I don't know. Let's see. Now I don't know if I'm looking at your screen or my screen because it looks like we both have Macs.
Let's go. Let's go try again.
If you see the Zoom on the,
Okay.
oh, there you go. Okay,
Better.
perfect.
Now,
So I think if you play that slideshow,
Okay,
we should
yeah.
be able to.
now you have full screen. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and we have the title
Okay.
screen.
Okay. Well, we made it through that.
Yay.
So this is really a photo presentation, but Maggie, whom many of you know, we decided to go to Kilimanjaro. So it's it was actually to Maggie, that was her idea to go, and for me that was I was kind of apprehensive at first because a good friend of mine died on the top of Kilimanjaro. He was a actually Explorer Club member, Alexander Doba. He was very famous kayaker, went
yeah. Oh,
Atlantic 3 times back and forth in his own modified kayak, and had great presentations and many achievements. And in age 74, Actually, it was 4 years ago, exactly almost to the date. He was asked to go to Kilimanjaro, so he did go to Kilimanjaro. And it's I just reread it because that's how I got actually a lot of information about the climb. He climbed to the top, and the witness says, and he stood on the marker where he got to the top. He wasn't feeling good. That was pretty obvious. And he stood up and raised his hands and says, "Wild Africa, sit down," and died.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, so they friend of mine, Piotr Chmielewski, also is member of the club. He was investigating that, there were journalists who investigated the death and the circumstances, but basically that's my sad story about Kilimanjaro. The good story is that when Maggie wanted to go, I look at the statistics, and the statistics for Kilimanjaro are not widely available because a park service is quite secretive. So it's mostly people in between 30 and 50. That's the majority of people who go to Kilimanjaro. I will give some, let me just start with pictures because, sorry. This is Mount Kilimanjaro from our route. That's about 35 miles away. And the facts about Kilimanjaro is that it's, freestanding largest volcano, and it's 19,934. It's the tallest mountain in Africa. And here you can see there is really high plateau. I'm about 8,000 feet, and there's really nothing. There's no other mountain. This is just what Kilimanjaro looked from the far away. So once we decide to go, I check the statistics. The statistics are not really good. Depends where you're looking for. For example, that about maybe 60% are successful climbs. And in our age group, which is kind of around 70, it's only 3 to 4% of the people go of that age. So we decided if we go, we have to go now. That will be the best time. So we chose, and I'm just going to show images. So this is close to the top of the mountain, and there were glaciers. They all receding, almost gone. They still have names, and they still some remnants of that left, but it's not that very much. This mountain is very well documented, of course, because it's about 30 to 40,000 people at least attempt to climb, and it's very well organized and run by the national park. So there is a lot of research done. For me, this was the first time I was actually a client. I usually go on expeditions and prepare myself and have a better access. And here, it was actually very interesting because I was observing and seeing how to do it and how it's done from a point view of basically a client. So the regulations of the park are very stringent, and it's very well run operation. And so they gave me a different perspective of how to travel, how to be at those places. We chose a pretty safe route, which was a brand new. It's 8 days. It's 42 miles. Start at about 8,000 feet and go to the top in 8 days. Has a pretty good rate of success, and about, depends whom you're asking again, between 80%. So I thought that was pretty good. But also the route it's a newly designed, and it's very good for an acclimatization. I got a lot of experience with going mostly in high Andes, and the acclimatization, it's the process and how it's done is pretty much determine whether you're successful or not, beside other factors, which is the weather, which is not getting sick. But this trip affords, it's actually very difficult, but affords amazing views and an amazing experience. Being on the mountain and being in a great environment and actually go and hike. At first, we didn't have much of a view of because we couldn't see it. You start in a rainforest on a low end, and then you slowly inching up. And I'm just kind of going to the end, and then I will recount the trip. So this is basically going very close to the top. Those receding glaciers, which you saw before on the pictures, are the remnants on the glacier. They actually have a name. I forgot the names now, but they have two glaciers on both sides. But they are the remnants of what used to be. But they still there in some form, at least. And of course, the trophy is the picture on the top. We made it. It was successful. We didn't get sick, and everything went well. So let me start with the trip. And basically, you start in the rainforest. So you have monkeys, you have another, animals before you get into the more arid area, which you go through all the climatic zone into the Arctic zone. And at first, when you're driving, you go through the savannas plateau around Kilimanjaro. There is a lot of preserves. So on both sides, in the Kenyan side and Tanzanian side, the whole mountain is in Tanzania, but probably the best views of Kilimanjaro are from Kenya. So that's what Tanzania is known for. It's the animals, and they are, as you're driving, you see some of them basically before you get to the first, before you start the hike. I'm going faster through those because I think everybody's seen plenty of animals in Africa, but it's just always so amazing. But I tell you about the climb. The climb, this is our crew. For two of us, the park has stringent regulations about, because I didn't know that. As I went to Arusha, I consulted with a guide. He said, well, we're leaving tomorrow. And I said, I hope you cook well. And he said, no, I have 12 people. This is our crew. I hired 12 people for you, for our service. So, and that's mandated by the park. That's how they do it, which is guide and an assistant, because you could never go by yourself. Then they always have a cook. In the case, we have a server, we had a dishwasher, we had a camp manager, and we had the porters. The porters are union members, and they have wages, and they had one of the person was a representative of the union. So this basically is a very well organized operation, and those people we spent, of course, we didn't see them that much because we depart early and they were moving camp. We didn't walk together except for walking with the guide and assistant. This is our guide, and Seraphim. He was great. He was older guy. He claimed he was on the top of Kilimanjaro 300 times. So I said, this is good. And also, he was complaining that his bag is bothering him. So I said, well, that's even better. So I'm going with you. And he was, he was great. The mantra there is pole pole in Swahili, means slowly, slowly. And they pretty much force you to drink water. So we carry a gallon of water a day. That's what we had to carry in the backpacks. And he made sure that we drink water all the time. So, because that's one of the biggest problems of unsuccessful climb is dehydration. And this is I'm just kind of going through the trip. This is still in a rainforest. We're starting with monkeys, and it's really amazing. You know, it's a little bit below 8,000 feet, the first camp, and then we're going into the whole different climatic zone. And it's beautiful landscapes. It's you know, as many as you know, the I'm kind of estimating statistically is about 150 people a day with 5 service people on them. So that's like a village moving up the mountain. And our cook produced beautiful breakfasts. And we had our own tent, and we have the camp also. They have toilets, but they have to move them every stop. So nothing left behind. There's no traces behind. The whole camp assembles about starting 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and by next morning about 11 o'clock, it's empty field. There's nothing. Even the companies have a next group coming. They cannot leave a tent or garbage or anything. Everything has to go. And of course, this is our tent, and we had a prime view of Mount Kilimanjaro. This is view in about like the first one for about 35 miles. So we had that many. That was the second day. So we had a lot of work, a lot of trail to do. And this is very well organized, very well run operation. They usually porters go after the camp is broken down, and then assembly. So they're passing us. Sometimes they take a shortcut, so we don't even see them all day. And they carry, it's all limited, and it's all regulated by the park, how many they can carry. Well, it's 15 kilos, basically. That's the maximum. And in the park, they have scale, and they depart, they are weighted, and they weighted, and as they arrive. So basically it's regulated. This is Maggie, of course, walking with our 2 guides. This is also mandated by the park. No tourists can walk by themselves. They have to have a guides all the time with them. So it's another thing which is mandated by the park. See those glaciers still there. That's the good thing. This is probably the one of the challenging places on the whole trip. It's called Barranco Wall. The Barranco Wall, it's 1,000 feet, and it's pretty vertical wall. It's not necessarily so difficult to climb, but it's kind of slow because it's you know, we had great weather, by the way, so there was no issues. But if the weather is iffy, it could be more challenging. But there's kind of a bottleneck, not comparison to Everest, but there's a bottleneck because some people are moving slower than others. And so this is the only place which you can see the crowd in one place. 1,000 feet takes a couple of hours because of the slow movements. So it looked kind of like this. So there's only place, you know, people can interact and have kind of fun, because we have to wait sometimes 10, 15 minutes before moving up. But generally, this is more, that's after Barranco, you have the big swaths of land and all open spaces. So you see people passing back and forth, but you don't really have crowds, I would say, like at the Barranco. It's all really spread out. This is one of the one before the last camp, and I just show this because there's only one structure. This is the rangers. They put it invisible. They sign you in and sign you in basically as you arrive, and they do the first aid if it's necessary. But basically, all the tents you see, everything will be gone by morning. So nothing stays except for that facility with a couple of rangers. This is the last camp. It's called Barafo camp. This is the camp which everything, all the different routes would come together, and because that's the last camp before going to the summit. And so that's the largest camp, but it's still, we can see about half of it. The other half is the other side of the mountain. So, and we were lucky we got the permit for higher camp, which is called Kosovo camp, which is about 1 hour higher up, which was great decision. But this is more or less what you start climbing up to that camp. And Kosovo camp, it's the last camp where there is a helicopter can land. Before that, there is a couple of camps where helicopter can do the rescues, and prior to that it's like an ambulance. But we saw them flying about 4 times a day because we had again good weather. So there was some rescues from our camp. This is actually a view from our tent when we came back. This is just demonstration. Our guide showed the old-fashioned rescue, which they still do sometimes. That's the kind of caddy when they take people down the mountain, which is pretty rare, but it's also it's really long, and it's not really a good way to go down. Well, the main thing about it's we are on the edge of the crater. You start at midnight, and we go by 6 o'clock. We were lucky to be on the edge of the crater waiting for the sunrise. So that's how this thing is done. You have pretty much continuous 20 hours of hike. You're gaining 2 kilometers, 6,000 feet over 2 days, and you stand the summit. Part of it is that after acclimatization, you have a less likeness to get mountain sickness. When you do it fast, you can be on the top for about 15 minutes. So that's also required, and it makes sense. So we were waiting here for the sunrise. And from that point, you have another hour to the marker, to the top, to the highest point. So Maggie enjoys her, this is cold. The temperature is about, not as cold as here, but about 15 degrees, 15 Fahrenheit. And finally, we get sunrise here. And this is getting to the marker. This is from seasonal snow, the penitentes, just melting snow on that. So people stream in and out, but I would say average daily is about 150 clients. And once you go to the top, you have only guides and clients. There's no other supporting crew. And of course, our crew, as we come down, and you come down pretty much quickly from that altitude to about 10,000 feet the same day. So it's an extremely long, difficult day. And of course, we get greeted by our guys singing. And then we're dispensing with tips, which is part of this whole experience. And in the park requires that you carry no passport and no money. So we sign the contract and we give them the money later. Now, it's like I'm stuck here, but hold on. Now, I have one more slide, I think, but I can't show it. I don't know. Doesn't go.
That's weird.
That's
Can you go out of
oh
your?
yeah,
There you go.
So that's on the way back. We got diploma. It's actually the official diploma from the park. But I want to reflect on this, that it's a very well-known place. It's worth doing it. And maybe we see some of the glacier before they actually gone, because they're very well documented. They're going to be melting. And so I highly recommend, and that was very new for me, and I really enjoy doing this from the sort of other side. There was no research. My only research was the observations, how this whole operation was run. So I can answer any questions. I read all the statistics, which it's kind of a little bit overwhelming, but
Zbigniew, could you tell me a little bit about how the process of acclimating to the climate or to the altitude, and what was the range of altitude when you were climbing?
we started at 8,000, and my experience in the Andes, because I was designing some of those routes, it's you have to move slowly up. You can go up and stay down. So the word of wisdom, I think, is about 2,000 feet a day, but you have to go lower. So this trip, we're going up pretty slowly. We had like sometimes 10 hours hiking days, but we didn't gain altitude. And then on 2 days before, we actually went to like 5,000 meters and had lunch, and pretty much you will feel the altitude. And then we had to go down to the camp. But the last moment, the last 2 days, you go, you really have to force it, because you don't want to spend too much time on that altitude. So to get to altitude is time, and basically it's time. You have to do it slowly, going up, and you have to control, check your oxygen level, check all the vitals. That the worst thing up there, of course, if you develop diamox and other kind of common sense things, but the hydration, so they really take care. And also if you get exhausted or hypothermia, but the hydration was kind of can cause a lot of discomfort. We had great weather. We had a full moon, and we didn't even use flashlights overnight to go up. That was that great. So, and those routes are designed for a good acclimatization. And also the park regulation, you cannot stay on the camp. You have only one window to go up, because the camp is going to be dismantled. So once you get to that last camp, you have to make to the top, or if not, you have to start over again, because the next groups are coming, and you are not able to remain on the camp unless you're sick, because it's basically everything is just moving on.
You said
Yes,
whose turn is it?
yours.
Oh, okay. I was curious because you said you didn't do any research, but obviously you lived your life as a professional photographer and you were taking photographs, so that counts as something, right? I was curious how much of your focus was on doing the climb as a climber and how much of your brain was devoted to capturing pictures.
Well, I think it was. I think the picture was kind of a second nature, so I didn't have to think about it much. I didn't bring anything so specialized equipment. This was not an assignment. I didn't have any client to fulfill. I didn't have an art director demanding or expecting something. So this was all totally mine. So I was able to do anything I wanted, as long as I had some energy to do it. So I didn't log huge equipment with me. I had everything very portable. So I think that the photography was sort of second nature, what I like to do. So that was fun.
Melissa has a question.
Yes.
I was wondering, and maybe I apologize if you've mentioned this before. How long did it take you, and are there different amounts of times? Should you have taken longer or shorter for the whole trip up the mountain and then back?
Well, there is about 8 or 9 routes to that. With my experience, I chose 8 days. 8 days, which I assume with our ability was the best way of doing it, to get fully acclimatized, which basically was 40. We walked 42 miles to the top, and we gain about 16,000 because you go up and down. So you have to put this in account. And that route depends whom you're asking. The rate is about 60 to 80%. Actually, this one is about 80%. I was just researching average. 80% of people would make it on that route. You have routes which can be like 4 or 5 days. That percentage goes to about maybe 40% of people making to the top. And generally, depends whom you're asking, because Park does not put official statistics. It's 65 to 80% of people who attempt are actually making to the summit. And I didn't do the research because the statistics are not favorable for people on my age. So I decided I don't want to know.
Right.
Better,
Never tell you the odds.
Yeah, you don't want to
Yes.
prophecy.
Yes.
Sink, this is Bob Shuckman. Yeah, I was there in 94, a long time ago, but do you remember roughly the altitude of the tree line now on the way up?
The tree line we started at about 770, and so the tree line was probably around 11, 12, I think, I would say.
Yeah.
On the second day, we went into the shrubs, and then because we started in totally rainforest, I could check, but we probably made 1,000 or 2,000, so about maybe 10,000. And then you go to the shrubbery, and you have like kind of like I would call cloud forest, when you have cloud zooming and small trees, and it's very abrupt. You are in the jungle, and suddenly you just go and you see the little trees, and then they're gone too. So
Yeah, the reason I ask is there was a theory thrown about in the mid 90s that due to increased CO2, the C4 bamboo on Kilimanjaro would migrate upwards in altitude. And I was part of a Vice President Al Gore White House study, and we were documenting where the bamboo was in 1994 versus where it was in World War II using British military aerial photography. And I'm just curious if it's migrated upwards in that period from the mid 90s.
well, I have to check. Personally, I did not see any bamboo there.
Yeah.
We started, if you're familiar with, it's called Laundressy Gate, which is pretty far away actually, and
Okay.
and I did not see bamboo as far as I
Yeah.
could tell. I
Yeah,
didn't pay attention probably, but
back in the rainforest, if you look closely, you'd see a fair amount of bamboo. But when you're hiking fast, following a guide, we had bamboo experts with us, so it's a little bit different.
right. Well, I didn't see. I was looking for monkeys, but I didn't show the pictures, but because I didn't want to make a long show. But yeah, we were photographing the monkeys there, and yeah, so I was occupied with that.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of the trees are just massive, you know, that, yeah, it's really amazing. But you know, I didn't remember the species. I photographed all the species too. I also didn't want to put a show because some of them I don't know later on because the guide were telling me, especially when you get out of the rainforest, they're amazing cacti. I mean, it's really amazing, spectacular, sort of clinging to life in a dry areas. Shrubbery. It's just totally amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to look at my picture, see if I see bamboo.
Okay, great. Send me one, please. Yeah.
If I do, I will, and I will tell you exactly altitude because I marked them. So
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I did no research, but I marked my pictures.
Okay. And congrats on making it.
Yeah,
Impressive.
that's awesome.
Thank you.
Especially at your age.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey.
thank you, thank you, thank
Gail,
you.
I'm trained. I did not say congratulations based on your age, old timer. I went to sensitivity class a long time ago.
Thanks, Gail.
Um,
Okay.
One question, and again, I'm not trying to, I understand you didn't do extensive research before you went on the trip. Did anyone talk to you or did you read anything about how quickly the icebergs are receding?
You know, it's well documented, so that those things are not. The park is it's
The glaciers, I mean, I'm sorry.
glacier, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the guides are really. I mean, the crews are amazing. Those guys spend all their life guiding people. A lot of them started as a porter, so they have a lot of theories. You know, like if you ask, how many people you had sick with altitude sickness? And my guide says, never seen one, for example. Or they have another theory that they could smell sulfur. So they think that Kilimanjaro is going to go up one day, you know.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's all they say. But as far as a glacier, I think that's very well documented. I was looking it up, so I think they mapping them up since I think 1880 or something like that. I saw when they, you know, with the photos, and nowadays with aerial, they can probably tell pretty good. Inside the crater there was a snow, but I think that's a seasonal snow.
All right. Are there other questions? Well, then, thank you very much, Spignu. Beautiful photographs
Thank you, thank you.
and a lovely presentation. And I'm sure people will request their favorites. I like the one with the tent and then looking out to Kilimanjaro. I thought that was very cool. I like the framing.
There was,
All right.
Nicely
Very
done.
good.
let me get out of this program now. Show meeting. Okay.
And then the next thing we have on the agenda is a recap of a quick recap of the January Explorers Club board meeting by Paul Tangy.
Sure. So hello, everyone. To give a recap of the January meeting, the January meeting is required by the bylaws to be the meeting where we hold a presidential election every year. Presidents can serve a maximum of 4 terms consecutively, and then they have to step away for a period of time. But the election has to happen in January. And so that's the main focus of it. There's some other business things that that were on the agenda, but really the election is the main focus of it. Richard Garriott has, for a number of, at least for this meeting, and I believe he's done it for some of the previous ones as well, has tried to move the board meetings around the club, and so that to different chapters around the club. And so this one was in San Diego. And so Paul Barabal is one of the current directors. He was appointed to fill a vacancy, so he's considered an elected director. He was filling a vacancy of an elected director, and he is the CEO of the San Diego Zoo. And so people are flying in for the meeting, and the San Diego chapter also organized a number of events kind of associated with almost like a mini little Glex, or it ran for several days. But the main part of it was on Friday night. Tim Radke, who is also, and he is an appointed director. He hosted members of the San Diego chapter and the visiting board of directors for a cocktail, for cocktails at his house. He has a super cool house there in La Jolla. And then Saturday, we all went out to, and there was a bus that went from the hotel where most people stayed out to the wild animal park. And it was a really nice facility set up there that Paul, it's like they're at the zoo's conference facility, but in a really cool place. And it started off with, so we started the meeting there. There was a breakfast just before it. And then the meeting came to order. So it's both the directors, the officers of the club, and then all the chapter chairs are invited to it. Another interesting thing is that all former presidents of the club are also considered members of the board in perpetuum. So a number of them show up, particularly for the election, to at least the beginning part of it. The process of how the election runs, the bylaws are fairly, they specify some of the things, like when the election has to happen. But the club's nominations committee then comes up with their own process for how they conduct the election. And so this year, the process that we followed, they sent a call. There was an open window for people to submit nominations for that. And then the nominations committee does a vetting of them. The ethics committee does a background, and I believe they use an external to do a background check. And then with someone submits their nomination, the statement of why they want to be the president of the club. And then that happened around November-ish. In December, there was a Zoom meeting, where each candidate was asked a series of questions by the board, kind of like a panel. Where they appeared individually, and the nominations committee asked each candidate questions on behalf of the board. And then when the actual meeting then happened, so meet came to order. You have that kind of, and this, if of the board meetings I've seen, this is one that has the most people coming. And kind of like everyone or a lot of people who are entitled to come to it, come to it. Like for instance, the former presidents. And there was each candidate appeared before the board and was asked questions. Was asked questions by the board, and they did that in sequence. Then we went into executive session. And what we did for executive session is all non-voting directors. So the board is like a big group, but within the board, only 16 of the people on the board are directors who vote in the election. And right now, those 16, there are 13 elected directors. Next year, it'll go to 12. Doing public mass now. And then there's also 3 appointed directors. The elected directors serve 3-year terms. The appointed directors serve 1-year terms. And so we went into executive session. So it was only voting members and everybody else leaves. It's a little bit like conclave. And we then talked amongst ourselves about what were the different candidates, what were their strengths and weaknesses, what were the different visions that they articulated. There's a series of votes, and we voted until a candidate had a majority. And then, yeah, that's the end of the election. And then what corollaries to the election itself, especially because once we went into executive session, there were a lot of people there that were no longer participating. Paul Barabo organized tours and stuff around the zoo, which I guess were quite fun. And then the following morning, the San Diego chapter hosted a brunch that a number of people went to. And then that afternoon, I took off after the brunch, but then that afternoon they did a number of like side outings that they organized, like sea kayaking. That was one that was popular, and some different outings like that. And so with that, if anybody has any questions about that, but that's just kind of, I wanted to share kind of what is the process of the presidential election and how does that stuff kind of happen.
And I just wanted to say there might be more time for questions after we wrap up.
Sure. Okay.
So, yeah. All right. We've got 10
thanks.
minutes left, the official time. So I'm probably going to cut off the questions for now and move into just the last couple things. And then we can revisit. Okay. So let's me getting to the next thing. Updates and announcements from members is next what we have. Any stuff going on? Okay.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm leaving for Greenland tomorrow on a 2-month expedition with a project called Icefin. There's 8 members on the team. It's a NASA project investigating ice as an analog to Europa Clipper, and we have 3 Explorers Club members on it. So
that is rad. I'm just going to say that. Can you send me something so that I can include that in the log coming up?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. That'll save me from trying to write down all the details right now. And Natalie. Oh, you're muted. Oh, it doesn't show you're muted, but we can't hear you. It's probably because you're Andre right now. Well, I've got one while we're working on sound for Natalie. On March 14th, there's going to be a very special event at Grand Valley State University, which is where I am a professor. And it's going to be some guy named Tim Jacob, who was on the Agulhas 2 that discovered the location of the Endurance. And so Tim is going to be on campus that day. It's open to the public. We're aiming it mostly at archaeology and history students and other students, staff, and faculty interested. But it's going to be a chance to kind of hear about this firsthand experience that Tim had on that expedition. Obviously, we had an Explorers Club meeting about that. I don't know if it was last year or 2023. Do you remember, Tim?
I think it was 2023.
Yeah.
Time flies.
And I know that there were all kinds of photos and things that were like under wraps because you were waiting for National Geographic to come up with their documentary at that point.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. I hope some of you who are in the area can join. That would be really fun. I'll just add, I had a great time with Paul. If he's still here, we hung out at the Shackleton 150 event at the club over the Valentine's Day weekend, which was a really nice day of Shackleton related deep dives and celebrations and picking apart all the amazing parts of that story. So it was fun to be at HQ, and I proudly wore my chapter pin and showed it to anyone who would look. So it was nice to have that. Jim and Pat, the pin went over very, very well.
And I just put an RSVP link in the chat if anybody wants to come. Let's see, Natalie's coming in on her own power. just onto the Zoom. Sorry, multitasking. But if anybody's interested in coming in person on March 14th to Allendale, Michigan, which is closer to the coast, it's not all the way to Lake Michigan, but a little bit further to Lake Michigan than Grand Rapids is. We can arrange for parking and anything like that. So definitely let me know, and you can RSVP there if you would like to attend. And we're hoping to get some folks in person because it would be a fun chapter event. And hopefully we're going to have some good spring weather that day. But March in Michigan, nobody knows. So, all right. And thank you so much, Tim. We're really, really excited about it. All right, Natalie, can we hear you now?
Hey, how's it going? I just wanted to mention that Green Dolphin did their collaboration with Snow Taser Banos and Go Dive Max last month to do a cavern cleanup, which there was like 25 people there. But the awesome part of that was, well, besides the tons of trash that we got, through this collaboration now, I will be giving the microplastic class to children in Mexico, in addition to animal trafficking classes. So it's good to expand the classes outside of the US in my local area to other places in the world. So I was pretty excited about that.
Very cool. Other announcements? All right. Then the next thing on the agenda is ECAD plans. And this is just kind of an informal who's going to be is out of the group who's here tonight. Are any of us planning to be at ECAD this year?
We're going to be.
We'll be.
Okay, so a few of us. That sounds good. Bringing Glenn and Luke this time. Oh, this is kind of an announcement. Luke has already applied and as a student, so I wrote his recommendation. So that'll probably be decided right in April, the same time that we're having ECAD. And Glenn is in the midst of finalizing forever his application. But and Natalie has graciously agreed to write a letter once Glenn gets his application together. So we may be able to get Glenn on board. I can write a letter for Glenn, but if anybody would like to write a letter for Glenn, those of you who've come across him and know about his work with NASA and the kind of stuff that he's done with respect to space exploration, I don't mind writing a letter for my son. Don't mind writing a letter for Glenn either, but if anybody feels like it, let me know. Just if you feel motivated to do so. So ECAD, the folks that are going, when are people arriving?
Coming in Thursday night so we can attend the Friday. I'm sure there's going to be Friday
Those good
things.
meetings.
So there's always good meetings. So we're coming in, somewhat late on Thursday.
I'm
I
coming
think
in
we're
on,
coming in Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it depends.
We totaled our, I was gonna say, yeah. We totaled our car yesterday, so.
oh no,
Saturday, I guess it feels like yesterday.
Oh.
It wasn't very much damage, but we just happened to go over a cement, try to avoid hitting something and somebody, swerved and hit some ice, but we came down hard, went up over cement, came down hard, and we did some damage to the frame, and they decided
It wasn't that bad, but we got 160,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
So.
But for us, that's not, normally we get 200 and some, in 5 years we put like,
So we don't know on
so we don't.
New York. I don't want to take our big pickup and try and park it there because we're driving in.
Yeah, so we might not come in Wednesday. We might do something different.
okay. Glenn and Luke are flying in with me on Wednesday this time, as opposed to driving, which they did last year. So Glenn's going to be going to the chapter chair dinner, which will be fun because he hasn't had a chance to do that yet.
If any of you are looking for accommodations, they were trying out a hotel at 56 in Lexington called the Fitzpatrick for the Shackleton weekend. That was really nice, and I know is sort of under consideration for block rates for ECAD. So if you're looking for hotels, it's easy to walk from Fitzpatrick up to the club. Not sure about Glass House if that's where ECAD is this year, but it's well positioned in relationship to the club.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Anything for open comments before I stop recording? And of course, I say that and then I move away from the Zoom so I can't see what's going on. All right.
Oh, sorry, Paul, who's going to Greenland. Paul, we went late summer, early fall. And although we didn't go with NASA, I just can't not tell you what it is to experience the ice sheet. And also to talk to a lot of people there unofficially about, what's happening to the ice sheet. So you are going to have a wonderful, wonderful time. Obviously, ours was not an expedition, so.
I appreciate that perspective and thanks. I'm super excited.
Very cool.
We
All
are
right,
going,
I'm gonna stop the recording unless there's anything anybody else wants to say that should be on the recording. All right, and there's that.